Welcome to my garden. Well, it's not my garden, it's a set actually, but welcome to my set. Tropicana, is that your dog's name? Every morning, I take the freshest oranges from my backyard grove to make orange juice for H and the children. And then I collect the honey from my homemade beehive at home. No, H. I said honey, not Harry. I only call you H or honey. And then I use the stuff to create candles for my guests.
With love, Meghan. Or with love, Meghan Sussex. I don't know, I feel like she'd like the second one better. Like, something's just telling me she'd probably like the second one a lot better. So Meghan, aka Meghan Markle or Meghan Sussex, I don't even know what the heck to call her anymore, but Meghan had decided to release a cooking show over on Netflix not too long ago. And it was released earlier this month. I think March 4th was the release date. And the reviews have been growing increasingly negative by the hour. I'm not even kidding. Like, literally every other hour, I'm seeing another review coming out by someone else that hated it. But, you know, regardless, that's just what's been happening. There have been a few positive reviews here and there, but they have mostly been drowned out by the negativity. But regardless, it currently has a 35% score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 2.9 out of 10 on IMDb. There were 8 episodes, and I only heard about this show because Facebook started putting it in my feed every day for like a week straight, just because I like cooking content, I'm guessing, but it was really a lot. I had to like close the ad because I was like, why does this keep appearing on my feed? Like, this is just, it's too much, okay? Calm down. But anyways, I decided to still go ahead and check it out. I went over to Netflix, and it basically is supposed to be Meghan showing us as the viewers how to cook, but she only cooks really simple meals that you probably would already know how to cook. But yeah, so I'm trying to figure out if she's supposed to teach us something new or if this is just us watching her play in the kitchen or play house. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that one out. But the kitchen, I think, also kind of looks a little too sterile, too perfect. It seemed to be devoid of personality, which is what a lot of people have said about Meghan in the past. So I guess she hasn't really taken notes. She would also invite guests on, mainly celebrity friends of hers, along with her makeup artist and a chef or two here and there. But for the most part, it's just celebrity friends. So I'm guessing that's like the only people that she like convinced to come onto the show. But yeah, let's get into my thoughts, okay? So it got kind of weird when Meghan would do the simplest things and guests would have a permanent smile on their faces and be kind of impressed by her just cutting up vegetables, for example, in that episode with her makeup artist. All she did, I kid you not, all she did was cut vegetables. And this man was like, oh my gosh, this is so pretty. Wow. I was like, my guy, it is not that serious, but okay. And then also there was the episode with Mindy where she was making sandwiches for kids and it literally looked like a kid made them, but you know, anyway. And don't even get me started on that fruit platter. She also showed us how to put peanut butter pretzels from Trader Joe's into a bag. At least I think it's from Trader Joe's. Correct me on that if I'm wrong. I don't shop there because they're not in my country, so sigh. She was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna dump these pretzels in a bag and put a little label on it, call it a good day. And I wanna say right now, I was only able to make it through 3 episodes of this show. I could not go any further and I'm going to tell you why in just a moment, but I was only able to make it through 3 episodes. Yeah. So I honestly applaud anyone who was able to stick it out and make it through all 8. Good for you. Good for you. I hope it changed your life. I just felt honestly that every episode felt painful. Like she was trying super hard to come across as relaxed, but everyone around her were just kind of walking on eggshells, trying not to do or say anything wrong. They were just constantly looking up to her to get her approval. Like that's what it was looking like. Now the second episode was kind of the cringiest of them all. She had on her supposed friend Mindy Kaling, like I said already, who I think is also trying to cling on to relevancy after that whole Velma situation that people are still trying to forget. I only watched, I think, the first few minutes of the very first episode in the first season, and I was like, yeah, no. I was like, no, this show is not for me. And it seemed to not be for most people because those ratings were terrible. So Mindy comes on. She makes a big deal of these preserves that Meghan made her. But they also don't bring attention to it, even though I think that was a part of Meghan's brand that she was trying to release. I think the whole point of this With Love Meghan show was for her to promote or get started, get the ball rolling with the promotion of her new brand. Because she had some issues with like the trademark, like the name of the brand. I think she ended up changing it to As Ever or something like that. It was a lot of missed opportunities. Like she brings up the preserves and y'all don't show the product, you don't show the label, nothing. So I was like, anyways, I don't know if they were trying to do some grand release, but I feel like this is the grandest of releases y'all could do for the brand. So she talks about the preserves and she makes Mindy a parfait that Mindy freaks out over, and Meghan has to play all coy like she doesn't love the compliments. And I think honestly it was trying to give Barefoot Contessa vibes, but it was way more tense. At least with Barefoot Contessa, she seems a lot more relaxed and at home, but with Meghan, she just seemed very like every episode, like she was walking on eggshells in her own brain. Yeah. Things would get super tense when Mindy would casually call Meghan Meghan Markle, and she sure did not like that. And with the quickness, she responds, "It's funny how you keep calling me Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now." Girl. The look of pure shock and panic and like a slight annoyance was all over Mindy's face for a good couple of seconds. Like, not only was it unnecessary, I feel, for Meghan to say, but it was also super, super rude. If y'all do not agree with that sentiment about that situation, I do not care. These are my thoughts and they are not changing. It was rude. In my mind, I was like, who do you think you are? Like, obviously I know she said who she was, but like, who do you think you are? Like, girl, this is supposed to be your friend? This is supposed to be your friend who you talking to like that. They have to be reminded that your name is Sussex. Your friend. Anyway, it just came across as though she wanted us to know that she was above everyone else, to kind of remind us that she's connected to the royal family, even though that's the same family she claims treated her so horribly and was the reason that she and Harry left and came to the US. Isn't that fascinating? You want to be so badly still connected to the same family that you claim you didn't like and that treated you bad. Make it make sense. Again, it reinstates in my brain that she wanted all of the perks of the title but none of the responsibility. Like, she wants to be called Sussex, but obviously they're not working royals. They're just out here living their best life in the US, doing all these Netflix deals and making these movies and shows that aren't even doing that well. After that, I was just honestly annoyed. The first episode was already stuffy, but it wasn't horrible. But that second episode just turned me off completely, if I'm going to be so real with y'all. She was showing us her high-low outfit that didn't even make sense in the kitchen with that sweater on her back. But I think it was her attempt to kind of seem down to earth, maybe. I was honestly just mad after watching that episode that when it came to the third episode, I had to kind of catch myself because she clearly can't feel a stranger's anger through the screen. So what am I doing? Like, that was the question. Like, why am I mad? It was just really more so irritation. I was just like, girl, what? First of all, why would you say that to your guests anyway? But regardless, to say that to someone who you supposedly consider a friend, that was just really, wow. So that's just kind of when I decided to call it quits. I could have suffered through it if she did more than just cooking some boring pasta and put her little handwritten labels on literally everything. But the fact that she talked to her guests like that, and on top of that had the audacity to make super mid-looking food, I was done. I was tapped. I could have definitely persevered through the rest of those episodes if she was actually cooking things that I probably did not know how to cook before. It was just really basic knowledge. But anyways, let's get on to the controversy, okay? Because that's what we're here for. I had heard that Netflix had a $100 million deal with Meghan and Harry for them to come up with a few shows, but I'm honestly hoping that this show is the nail in the entertainment career coffin for them. At this point, why are y'all still paying them money? Like, I know it was a contract, but it's like, is there a way out of it so that y'all could stop producing their content? Is there a way? I just feel like nobody has been making their money back signing these two. Like, I mean, look at Spotify, for example. They had her Archetypes podcast over there, and they just had to end up walking away from that because it just wasn't making any money. It wasn't drawing any new viewers. It just was really boring, and it was like, what are we doing here? But back on Netflix, their little docu-series that they did, it didn't really do well either because people didn't really like them. Mainly because they're always complaining. They're always complaining about something. Every time they get a chance to talk, they're complaining about how much their life sucks, how much the royal family sucks. At this point, I don't care. Like, when they first left, you know, when was that? 2020? 2021? I don't know. A couple years ago is when they left. They decided to leave the UK, come to the US. And everyone was like, oh my God, here are some tissues. Like, I feel so sorry for her. But now it's like, please go away. Please go away. I beg. I just honestly think that they're professional victims at this point. Like, there's no other way to describe it. I think people could probably deal with Harry, but even he gets annoying sometimes. But Meghan is insufferable. Super, super insufferable. I would look at her facial expressions sometimes and they look so pained. Like, just to look at her, it's like painful sometimes. Because I look at her and it's just like, girl, are you okay? Are you okay? That's what I want to ask her every time I see her. I was honestly hoping that her cooking could make me overlook that, but no, that just didn't happen. I feel like you can't have subpar cooking skills and be a below subpar human and expect people to like the show. It's just, you gotta pick one. Good personality, but the cooking isn't really that great, or your cooking skills are fantastic, but you're just not that great of a person. Like, which one? Honestly, after watching this show, I think that Meghan is going through an identity crisis and has been for a good portion of her life. Just trying to figure out where she fits in because she no longer fits in with the Hollywood acting bubble. And she wanted to be an influencer for a bit, but I don't think she has any genuine interest in anything. It just seems like whatever is going to stick is what she'll stick to for that time until she finds something else. But that's kind of all I have to say. It just comes across as like, are you trying to find an identity, you know? But let me know your thoughts on this one down in the comments. I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.